Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. It's crazy how someone doing something criminal, wrong, will immediately flip and play victim, pointing their raggedy finger to the actual person they victimized. That was justified revenge. Well played, OP. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Hope you like it spicy. A long time ago, I worked in a call center for very little money. We had a shared fridge in the break room and put our names on our food, but someone kept stealing lunches, leaving someone to go without every day. HR and management said they couldn't prove who it was, so there was nothing they could do. But they also wouldn't allow us to have coolers at our tiny desks in case someone tripped over them. After a few months of this, 3 of us got together and came up with a plan. We grew habaneros in our kitchen windows and built up a tolerance. Then we started making our lunches with whole habaneros. The first time that thief got one of our lunches, he went running for a sink for water, but we turned it off underneath. So he went running for the drinking fountain. But we were all 3 there drinking because the sink was somehow not working. And we didn't let him cut in line while laughing our butts off. HR, not knowing we were the ones who did anything to the sink, still tried to write us up, but in the end, they couldn't really get us in trouble for making our own lunches spicy AF, especially since we've been eating them all along. He did get written up for stealing a lunch, though, because there was definitely evidence. He left my lunchbox on the table when he ran off. He quit pretty soon after, because absolutely none of the employees would talk to him after that. I totally understand being hungry and not able to afford food, but we were all in the same situation. We'd have shared what little we had if he'd just asked. It took me years to get my tolerance for spicy food back down to normal, and I admit I didn't actually enjoy those lunches, but it was totally worth it to see the look on his face that day. And our second story. I'm just doing what you said, boss. Setup. I work at a big box retail store. Like the biggest. You know the one. And I'm a customer service manager. My job has a lot of responsibilities, and as the closer, I have an extra one. My shifts are 2 to 11 with an hour lunch at 6, usually 7:30. As the closer, it's my responsibility to pull all but a couple register tills in the store every night by 9 p.m. I'd have to start at 8 for this, and by 10 I needed to have a certain set of registers set up for third shift, because at midnight, it's a new day, and this is how they keep track of sales. Seems simple enough, right? Now keep in mind, after 9 p.m., the mid-shift CSM leaves, so it's just me until 10 when third shift comes in. Well, when we pull the tills, we bring them into our cash office, and then we put them into this monstrous machine. This isn't usually a problem, as there's generally 2 of us until 9 p.m. That's where the issue lies. Starting at 9, we have an hour to set up 16 register tills, half of which are the 8 self-checkouts we have at our store. Each non-self-checkout till takes about 3 minutes each, so around half an hour. The self-checkouts take about 4 minutes each, about another half hour. So you'd usually get done right before 10. Now this is assuming that you're completely uninterrupted and can progress nonstop. Except anyone with retail management experience knows that that's not how it works. Most days I could get the 8 non-self checks done in between, but that wasn't good enough. I needed to do them all, and if I didn't, it'd be a write-up every time until I was doing it right. But it didn't stop there. Our asset protection team realized we had to leave the new tills sitting on a shelf in the CO to go help customers and cashiers. This was unacceptable. So we were told that we could no longer leave the CO if there were tills out. Sure. So the next night, 9 p.m. rolls around and I start making tills. About 5 minutes in, my little Palm Pilot goes off telling me someone needs help, so I radio management and have the following conversation. Hey, CSM OP here. Would someone be able to come up and grab the training question on Register X? The assistant manager for the night. Why can't you get it? I have tills out in the CO. I can't leave them in here. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll be right up. I thank them and continue my business, and another person needs help, so I call again. This goes on for the entire hour, about every 5 minutes. At one point, I call to have someone send one of my cashiers to their break because I'm still in the CO. 10 comes around, I finish up, third shift comes in, and I spend my next hour sitting in the CO because I can't leave the room. Shift ends, I come back the next day to an email. When setting up tills, instead of calling for management to come up and answer questions, put all the tills in Big Blue, a wagon-type thing that's meant to hold the tills. It used to lock, but someone broke it, and management can put it into accounting for you until you need it again. Sure, no problem. So, as usual, a few minutes after I start setting up, the Palm Pilot goes off. I call the ASM, and they come to put it in the accounting office for me. I help that person, come back to the CO, set up another couple of tills before the Palm Pilot goes off again, so I call management up again so I can put these tills in the accounting office too. While up there with me, the ASM says, "This is ridiculous. How am I supposed to get anything done if I have to constantly come up here?" To which I respond, "Talk to AP, they made this rule." I come back the next day, and my manager pulls me into the office and starts asking me why the other managers are frustrated and saying that I can't run the front end and that it shouldn't be this hard for me to manage things on my own. I tell her that I'm by myself at night and that I can't leave the CO with tills out by hers and AP's orders. So I have to call management because for an hour I'm constantly making new tills. "I'm just doing what you told me to do, boss." Before I left for the day, I checked my email again. We'll be scheduling 2 closers starting next week. And our next story. You don't even know your job. I was about 11 years old at the time and on summer break from school. During the summers, I'd work in my dad's office, it's his business, answering the phone, making copies, cleaning, etc., to keep me busy while I was not in school and give me a way to earn some money. The business is a construction-type business, so it was pretty common for my dad to have to go out to the shop, to a store, to a job site, etc., and we wouldn't know when he'd return. Usually there was another admin in the office to handle stuff, but very rarely I was there alone. For a few minutes, an hour or so max. I was never alone on the property, and there was always another adult there that I knew a phone number for and could call if I really needed to. This one day, the other admin was out, and my dad had to run out to the shop to help fix something. He walked out the door and the phone rang, and the following happened. CL is crazy lady, me is me. Me. Hello, business name, how can I help you? CL. I need to speak to my dad's name. Me. I'm sorry he just stepped out of the office right now, but I can take a message for you and have him give you a call when he gets back. CL. Well, when will he be back? Me. I'm sorry, I'm not sure. There was a problem with some equipment and he had to go help. CL. Well, I need to speak with him. Me. I'm sorry, but he's not in the building right now. I could have him give you a call if I can take a message for you. CL. No, I need to talk to my dad's name. Me. I'm sorry, I can't do that right now. I don't know when he'll be back. Can I please just take a CL? This is ridiculous. You don't know anything. How do you not know a time that he'll be back? You don't even know what your job is. What kind of company is this? How are you so incompetent? Me, holding back tears at this point and begging this lady to please just let me take a message. My dad, thank God, walked into the office at that moment and I cut CL off to say, I'm sorry, he just walked in. Hold on 1 second, please. Me. Dad, you have a call on line 1. Dad. Who is it? Me. I don't know. Crying now. She won't give me her name or number. Won't let me take a message and screamed at me, and I don't know why. Dad walks into his office and takes the call. I don't hear the entire exchange, but he put the call on speaker at this point, and I did hear him say something to the effect of, yes, that was my daughter. She's working here for the summer. I asked her to have calls, leave messages for me because I was not in the building. CL laughed kind of sheepishly and said, oh, I could practically hear her face turning red. She half mumbled an apology/excuse and hung up extremely fast. And that's why I still have some phone anxiety at the ripe old age of 25. And our last story. Entitled neighbor wants workers to unseal the road so he could get out. I live in an HOA community. We actually have a good HOA. I know, shocking. This is about my entitled neighbor, one of many stories. Let's call him Dan. No one in the community likes Dan. Dan, unfortunately, lives right across the hall from me. A month ago, we get a message from the HOA that they will be doing an asphalt seal coat on the roads in our community. They split it into 3 sections, 1 day for each section. They said it'll take about 11 and a half hours, 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., so we need to plan accordingly for the day the work will be done. For people who need to use their cars during the road work, they need to move their cars to a nearby street, which is less than a 1-minute walk. They sent several emails, mailed everyone a letter, and posted notices on everyone's door, garage door, and common areas. Pretty impossible to notice, unless you're Dan. At about 7:45 a.m., the workers start taping off areas to get ready. 8 a.m., the tar-like goo starts going down. These guys work fast. One machine lays down the thick liquid, and 3 guys come in and spread it evenly. It's quite ASMR friendly, and it's like watching someone color, LOL. Anyways, it takes the workers about an hour to get to my part of the road. At about 9 a.m., I hear yelling outside. I look out the window, and Dan is yelling at the workers from his garage. Dan is trying to get out and is pissed that he can't now unless he wants that tar-like goo on his precious truck. He starts ordering the workers to scrape off the coat so that he can leave. I have no clue if that's possible, but they'd already passed Dan's house, plus about 20 yards past his house. The foreman comes over to talk to Dan. The foreman tells Dan he's not going anywhere and that he was notified several times. In fact, the foreman points to the notice taped to his garage door that Dan is standing 6 feet from. A notice that's been there 4 to 5 days. Dan makes excuse after excuse. He says that the HOA should have knocked on his door to let him know. More shouting occurs and Dan starts threatening to sue. The foreman doesn't care. He's doing his job. He warns Dan that if he drives on the coat, he'll be responsible for his own damages and more. Guess what this dumb butt did? Yeah, he tried to drive out of his garage. Silly rebel. Dan throws another tantrum and eventually retreats back to his home. Wow, Dan's a piece of work. He's got to have a couple of screws loose if he thinks you can unseal a road that's started to set. It's already hardening. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.